This Week in Gaming with Naomi Kyle.
Happy Mario Day! I'm Naomi Kyle, and welcome back to This Week in Gaming. This week, we're catching up on the current state of Warner Bros. Games, the Fallout TV series, some exciting Mario Day news, and yet another video game getting the Hollywood treatment. But you'll have to stick around to find out. We've got all of this week's gaming news, so let's get started. Warner Bros. Discovery cast a spell over gamers early last year when they released their highly anticipated title, Hogwarts Legacy, which sold 12 million copies in the first 2 weeks and has made Warner Bros. Discovery over $1 billion. Yes, billion with a B. But not every game can be a banger, as Warner Bros. Found out firsthand following the release of their most recent title, Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. J.B. Perrette, CEO and president of global streaming and games for Warner Bros. Discovery, said in an investors meeting that their game Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League was a disappointment for the company, and that the success of a game, even a AAA console game, is never guaranteed in what he called a volatile market. He explained that going forward, Warner Bros. Discovery will be focusing their efforts on creating more live service games featuring core franchises to reduce that validity and generate more consistent revenue. This could mean that gamers can expect to see more live service, mobile, and free-to-play games from Warner Bros. In the future. In fact, the devs at Player First Games revealed in a video that Warner Bros. Free-to-play platform fighter Multiverse will be releasing on May 28th. In Multiverse, players can pick from a diverse roster of Warner Bros. Characters and go head-to-head in 1v1, 2v2, and 4-player free-for-all matches, online, or good old-fashioned couch co-op. So does this mean that Warner Bros. Is done making AAA titles? Can we expect more free-to-play games in the future? Perrette says the future is still unclear for Warner Bros., but he believes that owning IP and studios could be the key to strengthening their presence in the gaming space over the next 2 to 3 years. Vault Dwellers, listen up. Prime Video released their first official trailer for the hotly anticipated Fallout TV series ahead of its premiere next month, and it looks Vault Boy thumbs up good. In the trailer, main characters Lucy, portrayed by Ella Purnell from Yellow Jackets fame, emerges from Vault 33 into the desolate landscape of post-apocalyptic Santa Monica, Los Angeles. The show appears to be packed with nods to the beloved Fallout video games, including references to the Vault Boy bobblehead and appearances by the Brotherhood of Steel, although some fans were quick to point out that the Brotherhood's power armor visor opens now. Yep, just like Master Chief in the Halo TV series, we now can see the Brotherhood's faces. Executive producer Jonathan Nolan has described the series as a non-interactive version of Fallout 5, promising a fresh take on the franchise. I think I speak for many Fallout fans that our expectations are high, so let's hope for the best. We should find out quickly enough when all episodes of the first season drop on Prime Video on April 11th. Capcom dropped a surprise on us with the early release of their character creator for Dragon's Dogma 2. That's right, the entire game isn't expected to launch until March 22nd, but players are already diving in headfirst with some interesting creations, creating everything from familiar faces like Geralt of Rivia and Shadowheart to original monstrosities straight from their darkest, deepest of realms. Gamers are even praising the character creator, saying it's the best they've seen in any game, according to Reddit user The Shiniest Hobo. And I'd have to agree, if the plethora of shared images and videos online are any indication, this character creator is sure to impress and looks to be deeply customizable. It's available for free on Steam for those who want to check it out ahead of the game's release. Dragon's Dogma 2 hits PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC in a little over a week's time, and promises a potential playtime exceeding 100 hours for completionists. Get hyped. For their upcoming Season 10, Overwatch 2 is rolling out a brand new collaboration with the luxury car brand Porsche, featuring a Diva skin modeled after the Macan Electric. Yep, you heard that right, like having your own virtual sports car, but with more pew-pew and less vroom-vroom. Now, while we can't promise you'll be driving a real Porsche anytime soon, we can guarantee that Season 10 is gearing up to be a wild ride, with another legendary skin and various cosmetics set to be revealed in early April. While the pricing for these legendary skins remains a mystery, most bundles typically range from $20 to $30, a steal compared to the real Macan Electric 4, priced at over $80,000. Plus, with Overwatch 2 already rocking crossover events like Cowboy Bebop, Season 10 promises to rev up the excitement even more. Watch Dogs is making its way to the big screen. According to Deadline, New Regency is bringing the world of the popular action-adventure video game franchise from Ubisoft to life. At this stage, information about the storyline is limited, leaving room for the film to explore themes from either Watch Dogs or its sequel, Watch Dogs Legion, or even introducing something entirely new. But what we do know is that actor Sophie Wilde, known for her role in A24's horror flick Talk to Me, is reportedly in talks to lead the cast, with French filmmaker Matthew Turi recognized for his horror films set to direct, and Christy LeBlanc penning the screenplay. With all this talk about horror flicks, could we be in for a spooky twist to the franchise? I wouldn't hate that. While details about what the Watch Dogs film will focus on beyond what we know of the games is under wraps, it's clear that Ubisoft is diving into the world of video game adaptations with major projects like a live-action Assassin's Creed series and a Tom Clancy's The Division film currently in the works with Netflix. We're circling back to Warner Bros. Discovery one last time, as it was announced earlier this week that they would be shutting down operations at the legendary production company Rooster Teeth. Rooster Teeth has been responsible for creating and producing shows like Stinky Dragon Adventures, Ruby, and of course the long-running web series Red vs. Blue. Rooster Teeth's general manager, Jordan Levin, said in an internal memo that Rooster Teeth is shutting down due to the challenges facing digital media resulting from fundamental shifts in consumer behavior and monetization across platforms, advertising, and patronage. Though this is a heavy blow to gamers and anime fans alike, there is a silver lining in all of this. Levin confirms later in the memo that Rooster Teeth's podcast network, The Roost, will continue operations as Warner Bros. Discovery looks to sell off the network to a potential buyer in the future. As some of our listeners may already know, March 10th marked Mario Day, a day gamers big and small celebrate the greatest mustache in video games, Super Mario. Mario Day started off with a bang when Nintendo released a video early in the morning on daylight savings, so thank you, I guess. In the video, Shigeru Miyamoto, Mario creator and creative fellow at Nintendo, revealed that a new Mario movie is in the works and that we can expect to see it in theaters April 3rd, 2026. And that's not all. Back in September of 2023, it was announced that there would be HD remakes of Luigi's Mansion 2 and Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. And as of yesterday morning, we've finally been given release dates. Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door comes to Nintendo Switch on May 23rd, and Luigi's Mansion 2 HD releases a month later on June 27th, 2024. It looks like, once again, the games in my backlog are going to have to wait a bit longer, because I'll be playing these day one. Anime fans across the globe are in mourning this week after learning that Akira Toriyama, creator from the beloved anime Dragon Ball Z, had passed away earlier this week at the age of 68. Akira Toriyama's influence, of course, flew far beyond the borders of Japanese anime, as he had also played a vital role in creating several of history's most iconic video games, like Blue Dragon, the Dragon Quest series, and my personal favorite, Chrono Trigger. In fact, one of my very first RPG obsessions was playing Chrono Trigger on the PS1. I remember really loving Marley's character. She was like the perfect warrior princess, wore a stylish outfit, sported long blonde hair, all while wielding a fierce bow. It's a reminder of how character designs can really hook us into a game, making us feel connected to the story in a whole new way. This is what Toriyama did for so many of us. Toriyama-san, from everyone here at This Week in Gaming, we wish you safe travels on your new journey across Snake Way, and thank you for your dedication to your craft and for providing us with powerful characters and stories that will be remembered for a lifetime. And that's the news this week. It's now time to chat with a new guest, Parris Lilly, who joins us to chat about whether a shift away from AAA titles is something we'll be seeing more of in the future. Hey Parris, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to do this.
Me too. We have quite a big story to cover. Warner Bros. Discovery just shared about their strategy going forward. We found out from an event that they had where they talked about this, that they're pushing away from doing AAA games. They're going more live service, mobile, free-to-play games with some of their IP. Yeah, what are your thoughts on this initially? It just seems like there's a huge shift right now, or focus away from single-player titles, which makes me a single-player title person really sad.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously when the news came out, you see it on the surface and you're going, wait, what? Why would you shift away from what was your most successful game, if not the most successful game of 2023, which was Hogwarts Legacy, and lean more into a game that underperformed, which was a live service game in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. But what I think it's a kind of a combination of both, in the way that right now the market is kind of stagnated as far as the industry goes. We've had a lot of different leaders telling us about it has not grown over the past few years. There's various reasons why, because of the pandemic, overestimations, things of that nature. But what we're seeing is mobile still seems to be the avenue for growth, and somewhat live service could also be that. So what I'm thinking is WB is looking at this as, okay, we know we have Harry Potter. We know that is something that if we put out another single player experience of that will work. We have Wonder Woman already in development that probably still comes to market. They'll ship it. But maybe beyond that, let's take a step back from the single player standpoint. We don't want to risk too much. Budgets, long lead times on development, things like that. Let's lean into where we think we can still grow, which would be the mobile side. So you can take these IPs that you have, like Harry Potter, Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, etc. Maybe there's a mobile game that you can make using those IPs that can be free to play, that you can monetize with microtransactions. And
that's right.
And lean into that. And then you still have the live service. Maybe you take another crack at that. As far as the live service games, again, that's something that you can monetize. But the thing that you have to worry about with live service is there's a lot of competition out there. Fortnite is king. We know that. If you bring something new to the market as far as a live service game goes, you have to make sure it's compelling enough that people want to engage with it on a routine basis, and they willingly want to give you their money over a long period of time, be it a battle pass, be it microtransactions, things like that. So I get what they're doing. Am I a fan of it? No, because I want to see more single player experiences come, especially they have a studio like Rocksteady that the Arkham series is legendary at this point. I want to see more of those. Hopefully Wonder Woman will be a hit as well. But from a business standpoint, I get why they're trying to lean that way.
I feel like it's a shift that just is happening across the industry. I think studios are just looking, like you said, to either shorten the development cycle on those AAA titles or move into a different sort of game service, a different type of game.
Right.
So that kind of brings me to the question, we love single player games. I love single player games, but there's been discussion about raising the price of those titles to compensate for the fact that, maybe they are too expensive to make at this point, or they become a little bloated. Do you see something like that potentially happening in the future where, maybe gamers have to get used to like an $80, $90, $100 price point,
Let's hope not.
Yeah.
Now, there's a game that's going to be coming next holiday 2025, Grand Theft Auto 6. If there is a game out there that they could raise the price, and regardless of us liking it or not, we're going to spend the money to go play that game, it would be a Grand Theft Auto 6. Hopefully that would be the exception to the rule. Even then, I don't think they're honestly going to raise the price. I think you'll have a $70 version of Grand Theft Auto 6. Phil Spencer himself said this when they did that Xbox business update. He was actually very mindful of this, where he was saying the industry has not grown. We're basically kind of stagnated around the same 200 million people buying console games, things like that. We obviously want to grow. We want to look at PC, mobile, etc. But an interesting thing that he said about that is he goes, we could just start monetizing the current player base even more, or we find new avenues to try and get more people playing games. Hopefully that is the play that we're going to see. And I think that it actually is what we're starting to see right now, where it's like, let's get more people in trying to play games, keep the monetization where it currently is versus nickel and diming our current player base even more than we already have. So I think from a pricing standpoint, hopefully we stay stagnant where we are right now at that $70 price point. We don't see any price increases or more DLC microtransactions in single player experiences, trying to get every last dollar they can out of us before we, put a single player game down and move on to the next thing.
It's a really good point that, we have to look at what gamers are willing to pay. We have to look at, and I think I respect what Phil Spencer said, we want to make sure that we're going about it the right way, not nickel and diming, but trying to just bring more people to games. But do you think that right now there's any ways that studios can still continue to maximize their profits as they go? beyond what we just discussed?
Well, I think it kind of leans into, and we're just going to pick on Phil Spencer for a second in that Xbox business update, whereas we've obviously seen in recent weeks that Xbox is changing their business strategy, and they're starting to look at bringing games to more platforms. And they've already been doing this day one on PC. They have a cloud initiative. They're looking into mobile as well, but them even experimenting with bringing select titles over to the PlayStation platform is them trying to generate more revenue for games that, I think the way he described it was games that were already in their ecosystem that kind of have reached their ceiling. Like, people aren't engaging with these games anymore. They aren't buying them anymore. So maybe if we introduce them to a new audience on another platform, we can kind of reignite it and get people interested in the game, because it's brand new to them. I think you even see on the PlayStation side, they're changing their strategy somewhat, where they're admitting, hey, we need to lean more into PC, into cloud, and into mobile. Now, they're not going as far as Xbox saying, hey, we're going to put games on the Xbox platform.
Right.
But they even see the need that we have to start reaching more people. We have to start reaching more than just the same 200 million people that play on console, where there's that opportunity on PC and mobile.
How does a metaverse play into this? There's been a bit of talk about bringing more metaverse experiences, building on that idea. What are some of your thoughts? Do you think that that's something studios should look into? Or do you see a future for metaverse?
I think there's a future, but I think that future is probably a decade away. I think we're still in way too early times for that to be anything viable. I've been lucky enough that, I have a MetaQuest 3. I've played around with it a little bit, but it's not going to be a daily driver for me as far as any kind of gaming content goes, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I think these are still early days. They're still experimenting and iterating on it and improving the product. But I don't think the metaverse is anywhere near ready to be a viable gaming option.
Right. I guess it all comes down to, which is the same conversation we had when VR became a thing. It's like, is the content there? That's what's going to bring people to using the VR headsets, or, maybe Apple Vision Pro has something up their sleeve for putting games on there somehow. I think that covers everything that I wanted to talk to you about, but I've never done this with one of my guests, and I figured you'd be the first. What are you playing right now? What's got your attention?
I've been playing Redacted. That's always fun when you play Redacted. That seems to be a common one. But I guess I can say by the time this comes out, I am playing Rise of the Ronin on PlayStation 5. Probably have some preview content out here pretty soon, and then review will be later in the month. I've also been playing early access. This is from Moon Studios, No Rest for the Wicked. And Moon Studios, they made Ori and the Blind Forest. This is not Ori and the Blind Forest at all. This is a complete departure from that. It's more of a Souls-like, roguelike type game, if anything. And this world that they've created is actually pretty fun. And it's challenging in the Souls vein, where it's difficult. You'll run into some bosses and some enemy encounters that are really tough. And, there's the whole action RPG aspect of it, and leveling up your skill tree, things like that. Really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. But I think they'll be going to early access in April that people will be able to check that out. So definitely look at that. And then I've really gotten back into Halo. I've been playing a lot of Halo Infinite, probably since the end of last year. I think they've really 343 has done a great job, along with Forge and the community created content. There's a lot of stuff out there now to play, and it's been a blast. Been having a lot of fun with it. Nice.
No Helldivers 2 or anything like that? Maybe that.
I've played Helldivers 2, and it is great. It's just funny. Because of Redacted, I've just not had the time to really dive in, but it's a blast. It's Starship Troopers, the game. That's what it is, and it's fantastic.
That's why we love it. I'm probably going to go play some right now. So
Right on.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps up everything I wanted to cover with you. Thank you so much for being on the show. You always have such good insight, and I definitely hope you'll come back.
Thank you for having me on, and I really appreciate the invite. And yeah, definitely. I hope we get to do this again soon.
Parris Lilly is a creator and host on Kinda Funny and Gamertag Radio. You can follow him on Twitter at Vicious696. And now for something a little different, and because we just celebrated Mario Day, we'd like to share with you some of the deals that Nintendo announced for some of their greatest current titles. Keep in mind that these deals only last until March 17th. They've discounted a ton of their big titles, which you can get for $40 instead of the usual $60, which includes Super Mario Odyssey, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, Luigi's Mansion 3, Super Mario U Deluxe, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario Party Superstars, Mario Tennis Aces, Mario Golf Super Rush, or Yoshi's Crafted World. That's a whole lot of games. And for gamers still a bit Nintendo curious, you can receive a free $25 gift card when you purchase a Nintendo Switch console at participating retailers. Those are just some of the deals, so be sure to keep an eye out for more deals happening in celebration of Mario Day at your favorite retailers. Now before I leave you, let's go over the video games releasing this week, as we like to do. Dr. Mario, Mario Golf, and Mario Tennis. These 3 classic Game Boy titles are coming to Nintendo Switch Online subscribers on March 12th. Also on March 12th, Contra Operation Galuga releases on all platforms. March 14th, we have Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection releasing on all plats, and High Water makes the leap from mobile to all platforms as well. Lastly, we get Outcast: A New Beginning for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X on March 15th. And that's This Week in Gaming. I'm your host, Naomi Kyle, and I had the best time this week bringing you all the latest in games. Thank you so much for listening. Your listen makes a huge difference. Don't forget to let me know what you're playing and what you think about these stories by tagging at Naomi Kyle on social. From all of us here at This Week in Gaming, we wish you a fun-filled week, and we'll see you again same time, same place. Thanks for listening.
This Week in Gaming is an iHeartRadio Canada podcast. Subscribe to this podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts. Download the iHeartRadio app for more podcasts just like these.